Okay, so we are going to talk about shipping materials and a checklist for you to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row so when you go to launch, you have everything that you need. Okay, so the first part of this shipping checklist is going to be determining who you're going to get your rates through. So some people to look into are going to that I recommend depending on your area too, like we talked about, you have to kind of decide like if you're super rural, if only one carrier comes to you. These are all things that you need to be researching and doing your due diligence to figure out what options are at your disposal. So the main people that people ship through is FedEx.com and UPS.com. That being said, you can also maybe in certain areas recruit local carriers that just have small businesses and delivery businesses that can do it for you. USPS, although they're quite unreliable. So if possible, try to stick with either UPS or FedEx.com. Now, third party carriers are different. Third party carriers are going to work with different people. So if like PeriShip is an example, periship.com, they work exclusively with FedEx.com. Unishippers is going to work exclusively with UPS. Shopify is going to be another third party company that you can kind of choose who you want to go through based on the rates. And sometimes it's just a quick way to get started. So let me just preface this by saying periship.com is the one that we work the most with. And this is because they offer our members a ton of support, and they were able to acquire associate pricing for all of you guys. So their pricing that is competitive with UPS, and they boast are better than what Shopify can offer. So that would be like my number one pick for you guys if you can get enrolled in a PeriShip account. They do enroll at certain times of the years. It takes about 10 days to get set up with them. And they usually don't take on new people around the holidays because it's just so crazy. So depending on when you're coming into the program, that should be, well, that's what I recommend is your first stop shop, is to get in touch with them, get an account going. You guys will have access to this list here, so all the links will be in here that you can just go straight to the websites and wherever to get things rocking and rolling. But so you don't have to worry about like writing all this stuff down. You're gonna have access to this document, and you can just click through all these links. So, anyways, PeriShip is great. They're gonna give you a ton of support. You're gonna get rate calculators inside their portal. You're gonna get really great rates for them. They also waive the surcharge fee for boxes over 50 pounds. And so now you're able to ship up to 70 pounds, which means if you're doing bulk beef or going through the bulk beef course, you are now able to ship bulk beef more profitably because we're waiving that $25 surcharge that they charge. But depending on, your preference in certain areas, you may not want to work with FedEx for whatever reason. So UPS is another option. But if you're going to go with UPS, get enrolled with Unishippers. Unishippers is the UPS version of PeriShip. They're going to offer you shipping support, portal access to rate calculators, and just, support on consulting with you on your pack out and all sorts of different things. So Unishippers would be a really great resource. Then if you're in a situation where it's just you got to ship like quick and you don't have any of these accounts set up, don't let that stop you, because you can just use Shopify. Your Shopify website, you can just ship right through that and use Shopify rates. They're not going to maybe be as good as PeriShip rate, but they're really competitive. And it's pretty seamless process, and it gets you shipping immediately. So the thing is that a lot of people come at shipping like, if I don't have it right, I'm not going to do it. If I don't have it all perfect and all set up, I'm not going to do it. And that's just simply, not true. That's not something that you should have stop you from moving forward with doing shipping in your business. And this is a great example. Like, well, I can't ship because I don't have a PeriShip account and they're not taking new customers right now, or it's going to take 10 days to set up this account, so we just can't ship. You can go right to shopify.com and make a label today and ship a box today if you want. So done is better than perfect, guys. And you're always going to be able to improve your process and get better prices for materials the more that you grow and the more that you're able to order in volume. But from, just a starting point, just to get started, you just do what you can just to get a box out. And, ordering in minimum volume for products is going to be one of those, but also just whoever you need to go through to get it done. These are some options to still get it done without it maybe being perfect, but still getting really good rates so that you're not cutting into that bottom line of that profit margin of your boxes. So these are all really great options. So do some research into each one of these, talk to their representatives, see what they all offer, and you can decide which one is right for you. Again, my number one pick is PeriShip because I've worked with them for, I don't know, going on 9 years now. And they're just super solid. They're amazing people to work with. They answer when you call their number, the first ring, and they're just willing to go bend over backwards for you to help you in your shipping process. They get you great rates. They'll consult with you on your pack out, and they have lots of portal inside their portal. Oh, I'll get to that. So inside their portal, they have like rate calculators, coolant calculators, like how much coolant you're going to need in your box. Um, all sorts of really, really cool tools. And here's the best part. All of these options here, these PeriShip, Uniship, or Shopify, they're all free to use. So there's no excuse why you should be going straight to FedEx.com and making labels through your own business account. You should be using one of these third-party companies to purchase labels through to get their leveraged better rates. And I'm going to get way more into that in our leveraging third parties video for better rates. But I just, as part of our checklist, you need to decide who you're going to be using. And I recommend one of these three. This is my top choice. This would be my second top choice. If you can't get hooked up with these guys anytime soon, you can make it a goal. But then, in the meantime, just use Shopify.com. It's just the easiest way to purchase labels and get a box out immediately. So one of the apps that you could look into is ShipStation. And ShipStation is just how you're going to make your labels, and you can add it as an app inside your Shopify store. And here's a link to it, so you can just go right to it. But ShipStation is amazing because it sucks in all your orders and it helps you to make labels automatically. So the other alternative is logging into FedEx.com and manually, or UPS, and manually entering the person's shipping information. This makes for double the workload. It also makes for more errors. So like, I can't tell you how many times I'm tired and I'm typing in addresses and I screwed up a number or I mixed two numbers around, and guess what? They don't get their box. So this just eliminates that chance for error. So it's ShipStation. It sucks in all your orders. There is a monthly fee to that, so that's something to consider too if you're ready to take that on or not. Because sometimes when you're just getting started, it makes more sense just to manually type it in because that's a free way to make a label, depending on who you're shipping with. Sorry, excuse me. But as you grow in your shipping confidence and as orders are growing and coming in, ShipStation app is an excellent app to install on your Shopify page to suck in all your orders and to automatically create labels for you. So it's literally as easy as the push of a button, and boom, you have a label because all your box sizes you set in there, all your weights you have set in there. So it just all auto-populates. It is one of my most favorite shipping tools to date. I love ShipStation. There are other apps out there, but this is just one that I work in and that I recommend because it is so easy to use and user friendly too. So if you are so if you do decide to go with PeriShip as your third party person, then they will require you to use ShipStation as an app because they bill third party. So like, it just means that they bill PeriShip, who bills FedEx. And that's so that you can get the peri-ship rates versus billing directly to FedEx. So the app allows you to bill third parties. So when you work with peri-ship, and I believe Unishippers too, they're going to require that you bill them, and they're going to recommend this interface. So I'm just preparing you for what they're already going to tell you. And if you're using just Shopify.com, you probably don't need to worry about ShipStation because you can just make labels in Shopify. But if you're going to be using one of these two third parties, then you're going to want to look into the ShipStation app for your website. Okay. So the next thing is going to be ordering shipping materials. Here is a list of all the shipping materials that you're going to need. You're going to need standard size boxes. That means 12 by 12 by 12s, 14 by 14 by 14s, whatever. And I'm not saying order all of them. I'm saying you're going to need boxes in standard sizes. So in the last video, we gave you the shipping key, or in one of the videos, we gave you the shipping key for you to determine if I'm shipping 10 pounds of product, I need a 12 by 12 by 12 to ship in. If I'm shipping bulk beef, if I'm shipping an eighth beef, I need an 18 by 18 by 18 to ship in. So, excuse me, determining which boxes you're going to need. The next thing you're going to need is a liner. Liners go inside the box. And we are also going to provide a pack out example video for you guys so that you can see how all this fits together. But just for now, you need to know that you're going to need liners of some variety. Liners are something, usually they come in two parts, an A and a B. One lays on the bottom and acts as the bottom of the box, side of the box, and a lid. And then the other one wraps around the side of it, and this fits inside your standard size box. So you're going to need liners. So if you're working with a 12 by 12 by 12 box, and we call those 12s. If you're working with a 12, then you're going to need 12 liners. The next thing you're going to need is a source for dry ice and ice packs. And I'm going to get in on how to source that in a minute. So some areas, it's hard to find dry ice. So you're going to want to work with ice packs. Other areas, dry ice is pretty prevalent and it's easy to get. So you're going to want to use dry ice. If you can use dry ice, do it. But it's not the end of the world if you can't. We can make it work. So just know if you live in a really, really rural area, dry ice is just not going to happen. That's totally fine. We can make ice packs work. But dry ice is one of the best freezer products to put in a box. So the next thing will be label paper to print on and sleeves, and I'm going to talk about where to get those. And then, excuse me, exterior stickers and making your box really beautiful. So that's just part of your customer experience, and it's totally optional. Although I do enjoy sticking up my boxes for one, messaging to your carriers, and two, just customer experience upon delivery. So, all right. So when it comes to boxes, like I mentioned, you want to order the standard size boxes. You can find these. And okay, let me just back up 1 second. The thing with all this material, guys, is that I want you ordering in minimum size volumes. Yes, you're going to find materials for better prices out there, but the caveat is you have to order it. Their minimum orders are a lot larger. So like, on uline.com, you're going to find liners that might be more expensive than is if you were to buy through another company, but you only have to order like anywhere from 1 to 25, where if you order through another company, the minimum order might be a full pallet or half a truckload or even a full truckload, which is thousands and thousands of dollars that I would prefer you wrap up in your marketing and put towards your list growth to ensure that you have the sales, to have the predictability of sales to be able to ship. So starting out, just when you're starting, it is worth it to start small and order in small volumes. So boxes, uline.com is a great place to start. You can order most any standard size box on there. But there's a lot of places that are just near your area, like staples.com, and even like the FedEx and UPS stores sell boxes. Amazon.com is another great place. And this isn't on here, but you can look up industrial supply stores. Let me just add that. So industrial supply stores are through every major metropolitan area. So like an example would be Colorado Industrial Packaging is one that I personally use. And they're just an industrial supply store. So, Google that on your area. And oftentimes the minimum order for those would be like 25 boxes. So if that still feels like too much, then stick to like Uline or Staples where you can just do like one or two at a time, depending on what types of sales you're getting. And a lot of times you don't even have to get material until after sales roll in, because generally you have most of these places that I'm recommending to you can either ship to you or you can go pick it up within a day or two. So, if an order rolls in and you're like, oh man, I have an order, you have a couple days to be able to ship. So, so next thing is going to be your insulation. Now, insulation is going to be what goes inside your box. It's going to be what insulation insulates your product. And insulation is always going to be running on what we call an R value. The R value is going to determine how good of an insulator that is. So it's the difference between like a thermal liner is going to have a better R value than like styrofoam. So you can start with styrofoam because maybe it's more affordable. But if you want a longer pack out, a better duration pack out, eventually you're going to move to like a liner with a higher R value with it, which is the insulation factor of it. You always want to shoot for a 1.5-inch thickness. And like I said, generally these insulation panels come with an A and a B. So there's two panels that come in it. One lines the bottom and works as a lid. The other works around the edge. They have everything from plastic liners all the way to biodegradable ones that kind of have like a crinkly bag material on the outside. I personally like the biodegradable ones because we market a lot of sustainability and it just goes along with our branding, but to each their own. Insulation panels, you can get these from Uline. There's also silver thermal wrap bags on Uline. So inside of your liner, you can actually use some of these thermal wrap bags to put your product in to then place inside the liner. This just gives you another level of insulation. But yeah, most all these things you can all get on uline.com. And again, whatever size box you're getting, whatever standard size is like a 16 by 16 by 16, you're going to want to get the correlating size of a liner as well. So that brings me to styrofoam. Styrofoam is an option. It's going to have a lower R value and it's maybe not as environmentally friendly, but they are sold all over the place and in standard sizes. The pros are generally these are a little bit cheaper than the liners. So you have the affordability factor, but then the cons of that is that because they're styrofoam, your pack out has to be flush. With the liners, you can kind of get away with a little bit of a bulge on top, which just makes it, I don't know, a little bit easier to like fit all your products and squeeze them in there. Where, styrofoam, it has to be pretty flush. So you really do have to make sure that they're big enough to fit all your product and your dry ice, which generally runs a couple inches thick. So you just want to take that into account, which is why it's always worth it to order samples to figure out and make sure that these things fit into your pack out. Okay, so again, you can order Uline here or Amazon here. I have everything linked out for you. Okay, so dry ice. You are going to, so when it comes to dry ice is the preferred coolant that you want in a pack out. It is not the end of the world if you cannot find dry ice or you live in an area that they don't sell it or whatever. But if you do have the ability to get it, I prefer using dry ice because it's more reliable. And it's the difference between like a freezer and a refrigerator. So it just gives you more confidence in the duration that your boxes can last. So that being said, ice packs also work really great. You're just gonna need to pack a little bit heavier in your ice pack. But here is a document that you can click on, and that is a little kind of like mini course on understanding dry ice and how it works. It is worth it to read through this document several times, guys. The more educated you are on the materials, the better decisions you're going to be able to make when building your pack out. The two options for dry ice that you're going to get are going to be pellets or blocks. I prefer blocks because they're going to dissipate slower. Where pellets, they're all broken up into little segments, they're going to dissipate faster. It's the difference between like a glass full of chipped ice versus a solid frozen glass of ice. It's just going to last a bit longer in transit. The downside of the blocks is they are thick, and sometimes they're hard to get to fit in your box. So on occasion, I might just take like a hammer and break them up a little bit. This will obviously affect how fast it dissipates, but it's just kind of a workaround if the situation you're dealing with has a need for being more malleable. Worst case scenario, I've also gotten pellets. So like if all they have is pellets, dry ice pellets, then use them. I would use pellets before I would go to ice packs. So, so that works just fine if there's nothing better. But the thing with dry ice too is it can burn your skin. So just as a precautionary from your customers hurting themselves, always encase your dry ice in like a paper bag or a plastic bag. Usually they'll give these to you. That's what they come in. But in the chance they don't, something like a grocery bag or something like a paper grocery bag, um, or like a really thick freezer plastic of some varieties. So just, play by ear as you go through this and like try to just, if they don't sell it with those already, which usually they do, they'll give them to you in a bag or a plastic bag. But if they don't, then you can plan accordingly and buy some off Amazon or something like that. So where to order these? So Dry Ice is one of those places that I can't necessarily like link out a specific place because it varies area by area. But just some kind of leads for you to start researching is going to be next air locations near you, and you can just Google that. Local couriers, so FedEx, UPS, whatever. Medical supply stores are a great place to look. Grocery stores, even though you might pay a little bit more of a premium price for that. Home Depot sometimes carries them. Local cold storages. So this one's interesting because it's not that they have it on hand to sell it, but they might know where to get it. So pick their brains on like, where are you guys getting your dry ice? Another thing too is like, if you know of other producers that are shipping, ask them where they're getting their dry ice to try to get leads on it. But also sometimes just simply Googling dry ice retailer near me is enough to get the job done to see, you know, where exactly you can find it, or if it's even available near you. The price per pound is going to range anywhere from like 90 cents a pound all the way up to $5 a pound. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. $5 a pound. Yeah. So, depending on your source and your volume, I would say the average that I've seen in the market is about $1 a pound, but I've also paid up to $3 a pound, and I've seen it up to 5. So just depends on your area. Obviously, the cheaper the better because that means that more profit margin. But done is better than perfect, and you just do what you can do with and start with what you can start with. So when you go to incorporate your shipping into your product, all these prices that we are acquiring through materials are going to be what we factor in. So yes, we want to shoot for cheaper material, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is it doesn't matter because we can charge whatever we want for our product to be able to cover our material. So what matters is that you actually have product to ship with. Eventually, as time goes on, you're going to be able to have the time to sit down and research and slowly chip away at your pack out to make it more and more and more and more affordable. But just to get started, like just get that dry ice wherever you can find it. Okay, so ice packs. You can try. So I like the same thing with the dry ice. The bigger the ice pack, the slower it's going to melt. So you want to look for 3 to 5 pound bricks is what I recommend. But the 3 pound brick from Uline is an excellent choice. Again, they're going to cost a bit more, but you can order a minimum volume of 6 ice packs. You'd want to do at least 3 of these 3 pound ice packs per 20 pounds of product. So roughly 10 pounds of ice pack per. So it's let me rephrase that. You'd want to do at least 3 of the 3 pound ice packs. So it's roughly 10 pounds of ice packs per 20 pounds of product is what you want to shoot for ice packs. So if you're doing 10 pounds, you would only need like 5 pounds of ice packs. And if you were doing like 40 pounds, you want to do 20 pounds of ice packs. And again, guys, this is to start with. You're going to test your boxes because we already talked about testing, right? You're going to take these suggestions and you're going to fit them to your specific pack out scenario. If I could give a universal pack out, I totally would. I'd be like, this is the key. This is how to do it. But the fact of the matter is we all live in different climates. We all live in different regions. And there's going to be some variabilities with every pack out. However, I can give you a baseline. So when I say 10 pounds of ice packs to 20 pounds of product, if you live in like hot, humid Florida in the middle of summer, that might not hold true to you. You might need to do more of like a 50-50 ratio of ice pack to product. So it's just a place to start, and it's worth testing your box to see the capabilities of it. The last thing is box stickers and labels. So labels are both for communicating information to your carriers like FedEx and UPS, and for that customer experience. So an example of this are stickers that say frozen goods, perishable product, this side up, fragile. This all, guys, is the only communication you have with your carriers, and and the communication you want to have with them is how to treat your box. So it's worth it to, and gosh, they're a dime a dozen, like on Amazon.com. I have a few linked out here to just like sticker up your boxes. The other thing that you can do too for your customers' experience is like order a custom stamp and stamp your box with your logo. That way, they know who the box is coming from. So when they arrive on their doorstep, they're like pleasantly surprised. It's a really small investment to do that, and it makes a big difference. So with that, guys, this is your whole material checklist. If you go through this thing step by step and you order something off each section, you are going to be set to ship tomorrow. And everything that I have linked out in here should be able to get you shipping material within 1 to 2 days. And it's all at minimum order. So nothing should, you can get as little as 1 box or 1 liner or whatever. You shouldn't need to have 25 as a minimum order or pallet or anything bigger than that. So you can actually redirect all that money that you're saving in shipping material to growing your list, and growing your list to the point where you have so many predictable sales that then you can move forward in like scaling your shipping materials. So all right, guys, happy shipping to you, and I hope that you utilize this, and we'll see you soon.